Um, I mean, I've got a couple of examples here. This is some maraschino cherries, and on the back it's got sodium benzoate, which I'll talk about in a little while. That's to preserve it and basically keep bacteria and mold from forming. It's got red number 40, so it can look like this because that's not how cherries look. I don't know if you've ever had a cherry, but that's not how they look. And high fructose corn syrup. So, I mean, this is a lot of artificial garbage. There's a lot of other stuff on there, but I mean, that's not necessary. If you want a cherry on top, go get a cherry and put it on top. Some other stuff, let's see. Pork and beans. This is another one with high fructose corn syrup. I'm surprised there's no nitrates in this. But I mean, the high fructose corn syrup in this is just insulting to us enough that we should avoid it. I mean, if they're going to put high fructose corn syrup in everything, just avoid it. There are a lot of canned options if you need to go with canned food that don't have that garbage in it. They're even starting to make organic types of meals in cans, which I found pretty awesome. I got some organic soup that I'm going to try later. Here's some pepperoncini. I love these, but I got these before I found out about the harmful effects of different food colorings and how some of them cause impotence, some of them cause cancer, some of them cause learning disabilities. There's been research and studies done on these, and you should definitely go look them up. Part of this process is learning how to find this information for yourself and educate yourself. I would like to teach you how to learn, which will be a lot more beneficial than just taking whatever I say as truth. This obviously has some type of food coloring to make it look this way for so long, and it's FD&C yellow number 5. So if you eat a lot of these, you're gonna have a bad time. Finally, here's one more example that I've got here, some creamy peanut butter, and it's got hydrogenated vegetable oil, a combination of rapeseed, cottonseed, and soybean. So they're taking those nice healthy oils from the soybeans, cottonseeds, and rapeseeds, and they're putting it through a process called hydrogenation, which basically adds the hydrogen to the chains, makes it way more stable, changes it from a liquid state at room temperature to a solid state at room temperature so that it holds it together and keeps other stuff out. And I said I'd come back to sodium benzoate. I did touch on that in an earlier episode. And it is basically, you can consider it a salt that will dissolve. It'll separate from the sodium ion. So if you ever see benzoic acid, that's basically the same thing as sodium benzoate, because the benzoate ion that separates from the sodium or the hydrogen atom in the case of the acid is going to be the thing that's going to enter the cell and cause the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria, to shut down. So it won't be able to produce any energy, and eventually it'll die out. That effectively prevents mold and bacteria growth, even at the small amount that they do put in there. I think the FDA limits it to 0.1% per some amount. Well, you wouldn't need it to be a certain amount if it's a percentage. It's automatically a ratio, so it wouldn't matter how much it is. There's a certain percentage that you can have in there legally, in the food that you can sell in America at least. And there's reasons for that, because they've done the studies, and these are real effects. Why would you expose yourself to something in small amounts if you know that a large amount can do so much damage to you, especially if it's just manufactured? I did have an example of oxygen a while back, but we've come accustomed to this level of oxygen. We haven't come accustomed to this level of sodium benzoate and all the other garbage. Some examples I don't have, lots of times they sweeten gum with a sulfame potassium or a sulfame K, aspartame, sucralose. Those are artificial garbage. Stay away from it. It's going to mess with your metabolism. those are all examples of 0-calorie sweeteners. They fool your body into thinking that it's having something sweet with high energy, so it will it messes with you. It will make you more hungry. Studies have shown that having artificial sweeteners with no calories will cause appetite increase. Um, that's basically it. Well, I'm glad I could share those rules that I made up for you guys, with you guys. And that's basically what I do, at least, or what I try to do mainly. It's mainly when I was trying to lose weight, I was following that very strictly. Now I do eat more throughout the day. I don't limit myself to the 9 hours anymore, because it's very hard if you're working out 10 hours a day, because honestly, we're just not what we used to be many, many, many thousands of years ago. But I'm adjusting. So I do eat a little bit more than what I should, but I am working really hard, and I mean, my job, I need my brain for it, so burn a lot of calories there too. Speaking of work, I had to leave work late today because I took a customer call really late, but I mean, that happens. Anyway, I hope that this series was informative for you, and that it causes you to read labels and question things before you just put them in your body. I mean, if you want to lose weight, for example, or just be healthier, you should definitely avoid artificial stuff. You should definitely try and get more sleep. You should definitely avoid drugs, or keep them at a minimum. And you should definitely be exercising. All of those things are very important for you to be the best that you can be, physically and mentally. So yeah, I guess I'll just see you guys tomorrow.